Hello everyone, this is Tumalay from Roarockit, and today I'm going to show you a simple way to add rocker or camber to your board that our founder Ted made up. So you can either add the rocker or camber directly into your mold as you're shaping it, or if you want to give it a little trial run or do it in a simpler way, that's what we're going to go over today. What is rocker or camber? Good question. So rocker is when the board has a bit of an angle like this to it, and that's going to be good for when you're downhill riding, when you're going fast, and when you want to do power slides. So it helps lock your feet in a little more. And then camber is when it's going to be more like that. And that's going to be good for if you're on a cruising board or if you want something that will maybe feel a little bouncier, or like for carving. So this is going to be a cool little hack to add the rocker or camber to your board, and it's going to be good for experimenting if you want to fully commit to it and make a mold that has it built in, or just to test out some different level of severities to the rocker or camber that you're adding. What I have in front of me now is just our pintail shaped board and a mold, and there's no glue or anything on it. We're just going to do a dry run first, and I suggest that you do the same. It's better to not glue anything before you're sure of what you're doing. Today we're going to start with rocker, and you have to remember that your board is going to be upside down on the mold, so you always have to take that into account. So what rocker is going to look like is we're going to take one of this pieces of wood, and I'm just going to put it in the middle roughly of the board. So I've kind of had it lined up so the valve is in the middle. And then I'm going to start by pumping about 3/4 of the air out. So the bag is mostly against the mold. And then I'm going to get someone to help me hold this down while we pump out the rest of the air inside of it. And that'll actually hold the shape to whatever the person is holding. So now that it's mostly pumped out, you're going to hold the edges down like I showed. And I'm gonna finish pumping out the air. All right, that should be pretty good. And then I can even take out that piece of wood and you can still see the bend that we got going on. We turn the board around, that's gonna be rocker because it'll be facing downwards more towards the ground. The piece of wood that I used is 5/8 of an inch. I wouldn't use more than 3/4 of an inch. Even that can be a little bit much, and it might just be kind of uncomfortable to ride the board, so you don't want to go too severe in any direction with the rocker and camber. So now that we did the rocker, I'm going to show you how to add camber to the board if that's what you're looking for instead. For camber, we're going to use 2 pieces of wood, and one is going to go kind of roughly where the trucks go, one on each side. So I think there and there is looking pretty good for me. And then it's going to be the same process. You're going to pump most of the air out, and we're going to finish it while someone else is going to push down this time. I'm going to pump out the rest of the air. And then same thing, we can remove these and it'll hold its shape there. That's going to be adding camber to the board. This pintail board doesn't have too much concave to it, so it's pretty easy to add rocker or camber to. If you're adding rocker or camber to a longboard or a street deck with more concave, then you might run into some issues, which is why we suggest doing a dry run first, as the wood doesn't like to bend in 2 directions at once. So you may be able to get away with adding a little bit of rocker or camber, but too much, and your board might have some issues with the lamination. So just do a dry run and be mindful that it might not always work as well as you want it to, depending on the concave and just the specific board. That's going to be it for us today here at Roarockit, and we hope you learned something. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below or give us a call or shoot us an email. Happy building!